You better be fueled up, Fosco. We live.
Are we live already?
Yeah, we're live, man. Oh,
Okay.
jeez, this guy. Right. Would that be a GAT, John?
I don't know what the fuck you're looking at. That's a pistol.
All right, I'm going to do official intro. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we're going to put our brain in that post-COVID economic kind of vibe, what businesses will do well, what might not do so well, how you should be thinking and navigating and bobbing and weaving, and just kind of get this conversation going today, Mr. Fosco, aka William Wallace.
That's a given.
Fucking good.
Every time I turn on this software, which allows us to stream, it gives me a new name, and every time the fucking name is so appropriate. But I'm
drinking amino coffee too, by the way, John Foster.
Oh, fantastic! Well, that means I better turn my mic volume down in these earphones.
Motherfucker, you better.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting, right? What you just said. For everyone who listens to this show and is like kind of figuring out what to do when it comes to starting a business or when's a good time. So with the deck being reshuffled and all this shit going on, sure, we have to get through a lot more stuff. But there is, in my opinion, if you are starting a business, there is going to be no better time than when the dust settles, because so many people who are in business are going to be kicked out. Prices of commercial real estate are going to be low. Everything from a cost standpoint is going to be low, and landscapes are going to be refreshed. Yeah. So I think for those looking to start something from the ground up, young people, whatever, I think you got to start eyeballing when we return to normalcy, whenever that may be. But I think this is an opportunity. You know, people say when when this thing clears up.
It's almost like buying stock at a low price. Like literally stuff is kind of reconfigured. So if you're going to have an entry point to the market, no matter what market it is, you should be heavy looking coming out of this. Why not? Especially if you're in a halfway decent position, or that your funding is still in place, or you're just starting up, low cost, like just getting something going. Like, why not be in part of the next rise of the economy?
Well, yeah, here's what will happen. If you're looking for a physical location, your rent's going to be lower. If you're looking to build a website or apps, people are going to do web work for less money. Everything's going to be cheaper, number one, and you are going to have way less competitors than you would have, let's say, if you were to go into business or be in business today. So from a financial standpoint, 100%, everyone's going to be working for a lower cost, which means more money in your pocket. And people that were once potential competitors are no more. So the landscape is very wide open potentially. This is forward. These are forward-looking statements.
What I'm trying to think too, John, and I mentioned before we got on, is like to really get my brain wrapped around more of how we operate now, not as like maybe to this degree, but having that in thought as we're building and continuing our business, that this might be closer to the norm for longer than we want it to be, not how we used to be. I think that it's safe to say that something has changed forever, no question. But to think it's going to go fucking Drake, flip the switch on and off real quick and go right back to exactly how we were.
I don't know what that means, Drake. What does that mean, Drake? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
It's a TikTok thing, John. You would know, like the.
Oh, you're damn right. I wouldn't know. You're fucking right. I wouldn't know.
Trey's shaking his head.
Oh,
but anyway, so
God,
it's one of those things. John has an amazing episode where he talks about how he hates Drake. So if you guys need to go back to that, it's so good.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that I think that's you're dreaming if that's what you think your business is going to like. Do I dream and think I'm going to turn my membership right back on the day, as in like in the gym, and like everyone's just going to operate the same way? It's fucking impossible. Like, I hope that we get back to the way it used to be, but at the end of the day, like when they start, processes of reopening stuff, I don't believe my gym, old school gym, is going to be one of the ones they say turn back on and sweat on top of each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be thinking like there might be a limit to how many people can be in the building. There might be a limit to everyone might have to wear a mask. Like shit is going to be different. I can't be fucking like, I don't know, like fairy tale shit. I don't know. That's what I think.
So here's what's crazy. You know, you bring up interesting points. There's potentially a limit to how many people could be in your gym.
Yeah.
You know, this, that, and the other. The problem, or maybe people see this as the positive, but is that the federal government has shown no ability to even enforce what you would call a stay-at-home order, which is what people are doing. And I think the people of this country have shown an amazing ability to, even before they were told those things, to understand basically all we have. And all we have right now is isolation. That's the only thing we know works. Guys, there's no cure. There's no cure. So what I am severely not afraid of, but I'm very aware of, is that all this isolation, which is breeding flattening of the curve, if you will, in certain places. Well, that's because we've isolated ourselves. That is shown to work. It's not because of antibodies. It's not because of drugs. So if we just turn the economy back on without talking about how, okay, so we're just going to all take away the thing that we knew work, isolation, and get back next to each other. Well, data and just fucking common sense would say, oh no, that's going to cause a second wave. That's going to be way bigger than the first wave. So my thing is, how as a business owner, and here are some thoughts, right? I think there should be a law, and some people could say, don't tell me, we live in a different world now. A law where if you run a business, you have to wear an N95 mask. Just tell me as a business owner if the government is going to provide that for me, or if I got to go source it myself. I got to go source it myself. I will fucking do it. And I think I will do that anyways, because that is just common courtesy for this new bizarre normal we live in. So it's about things like that, because you are not going to go to a movie theater. You're not going to go to a gym. You're not going to go to a retail store and have it be like normal when there's no cure. This thing stops with isolation. So when we talk about flipping the switch back on, what are the other devices that are going to be in place to protect us? There's very little talk of this, and everyone's in la la land if they think it's a switch. And I mean, and I'm not even getting to the backloaded recession, borderline depression that's coming. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just talking about being able to get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like how?
Well, and I wonder if it's going to be such the norm, and like you said, if it's not a law, people should, I guess, almost be looked down upon if you're walking in public without it, right? I mean, that's really where it should. I mean, I've heard you talk like tomorrow, John, if you could reopen CBD Social and you just had to wear a mask and someone had to have a mask to come in, we'd open the fucking doors in a heartbeat.
100%. And I think even as someone who I like to think believes in doing the right thing, especially when it comes to customers and business, I think whether you tell me that or not, that's what needs to be done. There needs to be N95 breathing masks worn by the people who are handling products that you then take home midst of this thing where there is no cure, right? Because how irresponsible would it be, knowing what we know, that I could be asymptomatic, the economy's turned back on because South Carolina doesn't have a lot of cases, and I pass you something and I have it, but I'm just asymptomatic. Dude, do you want to talk about catastrophe?
Yeah.
Catastrophe. So I'm looking to leadership, and I'm not seeing it in regards to how. And if someone wants to talk about May 1st and fucking today's April, what, 14th, April 15th, 15th, the old tax day, right? Not anymore. Talk about a new normal, but someone's talking about April 15th and then May 1st. Okay, so we're 2 weeks away from potentially opening the economy in certain places.
There's no way.
How?
There's no way.
Where's the fucking beef? Like, where are the specifics?
Where's the beef?
Seriously, where's the specifics?
Hey, I can't believe Trey's laughing. I can see him in the back room. The motherfucker, most people wouldn't even know where's the beef is, Johnny, unless they're 40.
Yeah, dude, the fuck.
I love that.
Yeah.
I just think that there's some la la land happening, and that's what I'm trying to keep myself out of, right? I'm trying to, as entrepreneurs, we're constantly trying to look at ways to adapt. This is the ultimate, maybe one of the biggest tests of our entire careers, right? I would say for sure, to adapt in a manner that is not short term. Like, I'm really thinking, like, what do these businesses do long term? There might be a percentage, maybe it comes back 70% or 50% of walkthrough traffic or interaction, but I just doubt that for a while, unless there is Pfizer or hopefully one of these companies I own stock of finds a fucking cure and then it shoots out and then we're all good. Like, until then, I just don't know that the new normal is significantly different than what it was before. So you have to have your mind frame set up on, what is my new operation look like? How do I over deliver where I can? How can I can't expect similar numbers to walk through the door or the amount of orders. It just, things are just, I don't know. It's, I like the challenge, and I like, thinking about it's not a grim and dim type of feeling. It's more of like an adaptive move to survive and add value on top of it. So I really, I don't want this to be like some fucking, doomsday thing, but I think it's just, you can't be not thinking about reality if you operate and you're a business owner. This is one of the biggest questions. People that fringely know me, man, your businesses, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, some of them are closed down and some of them are good. But, for a while, all of them were working. But now it's a percentage that isn't working. Like, it's just what it is. Like, and I'm still paying rent. We're still paying rent. Like, it's just the way it is. So, yeah, and the stimulus stuff, like, I don't count on any of that shit. I hope it comes through. I mean, Gunny, I hope it comes through.
Everybody needs to know when they hear the reports of all the small business support.
I ain't seen no fucking money yet.
Know this. I heard from the accounting firm this morning that they've seen one or two clients get a PPP loan, which is what you're hearing about TV, that there's $300 billion carved out for small business. First off, we were supposed to get something called an EIDL loan, but essentially it was a grant, and that was for $10,000. Well, then that was supposed to be for $10,000 if you met a certain criteria that most businesses meet, right? And then they chopped that down to, nope, it's only worth $1,000 per employee up to 10 employees. Meanwhile, Delta just got $6 billion. American Airlines just got $5.5 billion. So it's really like, people got to understand this. Okay. So the big businesses get bailed out. The big businesses are the ones who have or should have big cash reserves, right?
Yeah.
But the big businesses don't want to put a stress test on them, and they obviously have lobbyists and this and that. So a lot of that money that's earmarked for small businesses is going in places where we don't know. But just remember this. I think it's 62% of people in the United States are employed by small businesses. So when you fuck a small business in the ass, and we are getting fucked in the ass right now, and I'll tell you why. Because every day that goes by that you don't get a small business the money it was promised to pay rent, defaults start happening. Yep. And when defaults start happening, real estate markets crash. It just destroys everything. People lose their jobs. So what we're talking about now is all this stuff, right? What we're going to be talking about in 2 months, please fucking timestamp this clip, is the Uber recession, if not depression. Guys, we haven't even started to feel, as business owners, customers who would buy from you but can't afford to. That's coming, and it's coming in droves. So you guys who haven't done business in a recession, and I've never done business, no one has, in a depression, right? Like the Great Depression. We better get ready. We better get ready, because even if we can open those doors, The people who could come in and spend money, they ain't gonna be able to spend money like they did before because their fucking money's gone. So understand, when you have a number like we're expecting, I think on May 5th, we'll get the unemployment numbers for April, the jobless numbers. We're expecting 20%. If that's true, we're going into a depression. So this thing right now is going to look like patty cake time, because if you can do business online like we do, you could still make money and all that stuff. But when your customers who want to spend money with you can't anymore, you're entering a whole different world.
That's why the separation and of price point and value and over delivery is so big, Johnny, because the pool of people that are going to be able to support one's business is going to be smaller, which means the much smaller, which means also the amount of competition is going to be much greater, who can outlast the competition, offer value, continue to adapt. And that really, lends to business acumen even more so. Cause I remember like before 2008, right? And I know that that's not like this, but that's something that people keep referencing. I swear motherfuckers could just throw a dart at shit in the stock market or in business. Like everything prior to that, especially in the mortgage, it was just like so crazy because it was all fake, right? And then when it crashed, it really weeded out a lot of the people that didn't belong in these certain markets. And I really think that same type of thing will start to happen, where the people that have the true fucking craft, and even some of those people are going to have problems. But at the end of the day, like I think that competitive environment, which I know you love, John Fosco right now will deliver you a product personally if he has to in Charleston. Like I know that's what he's doing. Like
do it.
Literally, like we're
still paying all our bills. We're not looking for the government to bail us out.
Exactly.
We're still fucking paying all our bills, and we're still fucking paying people, and we're still fucking making money. Fact.
And that's one thing I'm proud of, Johnny. We've retained everybody right now. We're adapting all the businesses, and like, look, the quarantine stuff's going on. Like I haven't seen anybody in the office. I haven't seen anybody outside of the people that I live with. Last night, John and me are texting back and forth. Max Ever Muscle had a good day of business, and I went in at like 6 p.m. with my wife, and we're the ones that stocked the shelves and got everything ready. So when the guys come in today, that they could fill the orders and do the things. Like that's like legitly, like we don't have interns right now. We don't have extra people. We have the people that have been riding with us, including ourselves, and we have to, whatever that this new pandemic thing means, that's just what you got to do. Like I'm not above going to fucking stock shelves. John's not above driving a fucking like a CBD product to somebody's crib to drop it off with a mask on. Like that's the level of shit that has to be done right now. Like that is just it. And if you think you're too sweet for that, you're fucked. I really, right, Johnny? Like it's time
to make a statement. You make a statement when you do that. You know what I'm saying? You make a statement to your employees. You make a statement to your customers when you show. I mean, there's a level of appreciation that you can only see in a customer's eyes when they're like, "Oh shit!" Like and it's like, like that's the commitment.
Like motherfucker, I brought it to you. I'm one of the owners. You were one of the known owners in that area. They know you, they see you, and you're dropping off a delivery with no fee.
With pride. Yeah. With pride. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's not embarrassment. It's with pride, and it's a statement that we're here to stay and we're going to fight. And we're not going to lose, and we're going to continue to find. I want to bring up something that was interesting. I was talking to our friend Paul, and what's interesting is that people have the view that because, and this is a good topic to debate. I'm not saying anyone's right, anyone's wrong. People have the view that because the government is mandating business to shut down, which I don't completely agree with that. They're mandating some restaurants and this and that, but restaurants do carry out and delivery and all that stuff. But because they're mandating it, governments should then pay the businesses because they're the reason they're shutting down. The free market isn't shutting them down. And I just want to get I know my take, and I'll let it be known, but what's your take on people who say businesses should be bailed out right now because the government is making this happen to them?
I mean, I never really thought about that because I know some of them are just shut down and other ones we're doubling down on because we have that ability. I try to really put myself, Johnny, in if I still from 19 years old to let's call it 28, I had one thing that I did mostly, and that was personal training. And by the way, it was personal training at $25 to $30 a session, which means the people that were training with me were tweeners. And what I mean tweeners is like sometimes they had money for personal training and sometimes they didn't. That community would not have money to pay me as a personal trainer right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially multiple times a week. So I start to think to myself, if I was shut down with no income and essentially 2 children, what would I think? So I think that my thought process now to then might be different. Right now, I like to think, you know what, you got to adapt, you got to figure it out. You should have been ready for this, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I was ready, but not ready in some regards. And so I'm kind of championing that mindset. But I can't tell you, with 100% truth that back then I wouldn't have thought something different. I hadn't evolved mentally yet. I was still young in business. I don't really know, man. I just think that it's easy because when your current situation is not someone else's, or maybe what your old situation could have been, or even with my mom being a waitress, not being able to go to work and us not being able to pay our rent, like how would have I thought at 15 years old? Like, I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about that deeply, but I'm sure I would have different responses for you at different parts of my life potentially.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense. I get that, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to look at it. I think at least the way I process it is I'll take myself from the age of 19 through now, and what have I learned? What have I learned about work? What have I learned about business? What have I learned about people, their job security? And my mom was a teacher too, and this is just, I guess, how extreme my view is. If my mom was to get laid off, let's say right now, and let's turn the clock back, knowing what I know now, my thought process is she's not valuable enough to a system to be kept on. And when I say value, I mean value in that business, because this, everything's a business, right? That sounds brutal, and that's my mother, and I have to separate myself from a relationship to her and what I believe your job, the free market, and the business are. And I know I touched on this from a different angle in a previous episode, but there are no rules. There's nothing that says that a government cannot come. And we know that we cannot rely on the government for help. So as a business, I think it's a stupid question to ask yourself if it's fair. It's reality. So because it's reality, I'm going to beat the person who's prepared if I'm prepared, and they're going to lose if they're not. So I don't even think people should say, well, that's not fair. That's like saying, it's not fair that I lost a brother when I was 10 years old who drowned. That's not, but it's reality. It's over. It's over.
Yeah. So what you're saying really, Johnny, is there's no
happens and deal with it. Is deal with it. I don't want to hear people who, let's say, are a barber and they say, I can't cut hair. What do I do? Right? Figure it the fuck out. That's what you do. You should have fucking information. You should have data. You should be reaching out to people. You should have fucking PPP you wear. You should do on-site hair. You should figure it the fuck out. That's what you should do, because you have to pay your bills like I have to pay my bills. So I don't want to hear people cry, because I could cry too. But I'm not crying. I'm not crying. And I'm still profiting. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a mindset that I think is, whatever, maybe hardcore, call it what you want, but it's survivalist. It's Darwinism. So I don't understand people who want to talk about if it's fair or not. Life's not fair, dude.
What it does, John, is it perpetuates what the belief already is in competition in business, because at times of business, things are way easier than others. What this does is just your view when you say that sounds like fucking super cutthroat, because it is, but in a happy, good economy, no, or people are like, whatever. But then when it gets tight like this, then when you're speaking the same thing as you were speaking before, it means something different. But the reality is that, like, there's someone that always is trying to take your spot in business. It's competitive. There's a CBD business, there's a supplement business, there's a training business, there's a podcast business. They're all lobbying for the same spot. And when you have skills and you're prepared, that's what allows you to beat the other one. That is the reality. Nothing is gifted. Nothing, everything is earned. And by the way, if you don't adapt, they're going to fucking take it. They being the other competitor that was more prepared. That is business 101. That's why in the fake entrepreneurship world of everybody has a laptop business that makes 100 grand from home, like that shit ain't real, bro. Like this is separating everything, right, John? Like that's the thing that we've been talking about all this time, that down the middle punch you in the fucking face. We're getting a big dose of that right now. All of us, including us. Like John and I right now have businesses that still have notes due at the first of the month, whether we fucking like it or not. Between the two of us, we've got 5-6 businesses.
They're all getting paid.
Yeah, bro. So it is not like fairy tale land and everything's doing good for us. It's just what it is. So but we know if we survive, because we will, then we are going to beat these other people that couldn't. That right there is the kind of in the vein that Johnny's talking about. It's just that when he punches you in the fucking face with it, people are like, well, no, it's just, there is none of that. Like, yeah, we applied for all the PPP shit, but I don't count on any of that fucking stuff. It is a plus if it comes through. Will it help? Hell yeah. Am I glad they did it? Yes. Are we going to take it? Hell yeah. But we cannot only believe that's going to save us from this.
No. And you know, not for nothing, I think when we talk about having this outlook, and it might sound ruthless, and a lot of people are thinking, man, that's fun. Okay, so this outlook and these principles, I mean, just real talk, here's what they've added up to. I've taken 0 pay cut. 0, not a dollar, since this thing has started. And I plan on taking 0. I plan on making just as much money this year as I did last year. Period. So you can listen to these ideas I espouse and Corey espouses and say, oh, I'm not going to take a pay cut. Can you say the same thing about yourself? That's what I'm saying. You can apply these things. You can live these things. You can be dedicated to these things. I'll say it again. I'm not taking a pay cut this year. Period. Now I want you at home who's doubting what I say, you look in the mirror and say that to yourself. Do you believe yourself? Do you believe? If you don't, maybe you should listen.
That's why, Johnny, a lot of the daily fire stuff I'm doing is about that kind of punch you in the face daily mindset, because if you start to believe that you're just going to succumb to, and yeah, maybe you got laid off, but you know what? At the end of the day, like I remember when my dad got laid off from the coal mine a bunch. And in between those times, he was always doing something to bring income in. Interior, he used to like detail cars. He used to train guard dogs. He used to do whatever he had to do to be able to continue to keep income coming in. So it's like, I look at, do I want to take a pay cut during this time? No, I'm going to double down and do as many things and over deliver as much once again in the businesses that are working, because a lot of people talk about, let me get to a point where I can have multiple streams of income. And that is, as business people that have been around, we have done, Johnny and I, but you're not guaranteed that the multiple streams is going to be multiple in something like this.
No, they may be multiple for 2 years, 3 years,
exactly,
5 years. And dude, up years, down years. It's about, dude, it's like a hitting streak in Major League Baseball.
True.
Years are like that. I mean,
yeah.
It's just, that's the
You're not
deal.
gonna be Ted Williams every year, right, Johnny?
56 game hitting streak with
Hey, but you know what though? If you could be motherfucking Tony Gwynn though, right? Like you might not be Ted Williams. We're going back a little ways, but at the end of the day,
maybe
like
Mickey Mantle.
But people are asking me, just friends that don't really know business. They ask me with, you can hear it in their voice. They're like, "Man, you okay?" And I'm thinking like, are you okay? You're the one that's got a job. Like, are you okay? Like I created my job, and yeah, maybe some of them aren't working as good right now, but there's some that are still. So it's like, it's an interesting environment. And here's the other thing I'll tell you: when you think like this, I think that one, you become obviously realistic and you adapt, but you also are optimistic because you've been through a lot of things to be an entrepreneur, an actual true entrepreneur. So there's a certain amount of limbo that entrepreneurs live with every day that the normal public can't really fuck with. You think that's true, Johnny? I think that's all right.
No one can understand it.
And no one can understand that. Here, I'm going to lay it out to you guys. What everyone feels right now, I know is super aggressive and super like something we've never felt, but it's within the same vein of that limbo, which is when you go out and take a chance and do a new business. You don't know if it's going to work. You risk all your money. You spend tons of time in it. You don't know what you're going to get back because you can't see it or touch it. There's a lot of those things that are happening right now. We don't know what's next. We don't know when we could turn the economy on. We don't know what my gym business is going to look like. We don't know how many people are going to come to CBD. So like, we don't know. And so that right there, which is something that is uncomfortable for everyone, but is somewhat more normal for what we do. I know it's not exact, but I feel like it's in the same kind of area, Fosco. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's why we're worried about it, but we're just taking action. We don't ever talk. Man. We don't even sit around and talk about it really.
Yeah, I'm fucking worried. And I'll tell you this. It's like this. So what are you taught to do in everything? Like you're taught to diversify your interests in life. You're taught to diversify your options in life when choosing a college or choosing friends. You're taught to diversify investments because you don't want all your eggs in one basket, right? So I'm going to sound like an asshole here, but if you get laid off, I
like when you put the disclaimer out there.
It's just the truth, right? So where I'm going towards is people who don't think about diversifying their skill set and their portfolio personally of their skills in life. So if you get laid off and you don't know what to do and you have no other option in your mind, you deserve to get laid off. Why should you not diversify your skills? And you're going to say, "Oh, John, I'm a firefighter." Okay, that's great. Why don't you have a backup in case you cannot be a firefighter? John, I'm a teacher. My mom was a teacher. Well, why don't you have a backup skill set that you could turn on? Oh, Mom, you're an artist? Okay, get those art lessons going. People need an outlet. Don't just fall the fuck over. And everyone just falls. I got laid off. I got laid off. Go do something else. And see, what I don't understand is even when things are good, why people who have one fucking job, just think that's going to be there forever. Nothing is forever, especially when there's money involved, transactional, especially in this global economy we live in where you don't know if you're going to lose your job to somebody, in fucking Istanbul, Turkey. So why do you do that? Okay. It's your fault if you do that. As opposed to always saying, you know what, I can switch this lever if I do get laid off from my job. I don't want to hear about you getting laid off from your job. I want to hear about what you're going to do about it. I want to hear about this new thing you're doing. So if you're sitting there saying, I'm going to get laid off, you're saying the wrong thing. You're saying the wrong thing.
Yeah. Think about what's next. This always comes down to this interesting conversation I have with a lot of people off and on. And it always surprises them when I say it back. Somebody that is not an entrepreneur, and maybe not, and not bred to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that they should be. I'm just saying this is their outlook, right? They'll say, "Man, like you've been in business for, because it's been like 20 years now, for a while. Like, aren't you like worried? Like, what happens if one of the businesses like don't work, or what happens if like this or that?" And I'm like, okay. And then I'll just kind of listen to them and, keep my cool. And then I'll go, well, where do you work at? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, well, what happens if they come in and fire you tomorrow? And they just kind of look at me. I'm like, that's not secure. It's as secure or less secure than the skill and business I've spent 20 years building. So how do you think that that's more secure? Because it's not. And then they're like, well, shit. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's two sides to this, right? Just because you have a job, like Johnny said, you should have something that you're like straight up like, if I had to call fucking Tony Ramos and go do concrete to pay my fucking mortgage, I would do it. And I would have to learn something else. If everything didn't work tomorrow, I would find and do something. Or if that wasn't available, I would do something. Like at the end of the day, you got to say, I'm not above or below anything else. What is my secondary skill that I can provide for my family? John knows roofing. I guarantee if John Fosco had to go back to roofing with his current skill set and with his knowledge from before, he could go make a roofing company a fuckload of money tomorrow. Right, Johnny? Am I wrong or am I right?
I could go immediately 3 phone calls and manage 10 UFC fighters tomorrow.
Exactly.
I could immediately go back into manufacturing. I could immediately go into retail. I could immediately go into health. If I look at my career, it's a collection of different skills. And maybe as I'm unraveling this as we talk, it's because I always need to feel like I'm ready for I mean, shit, maybe it's the way I grew up, ready for war. And in war, you get things taken from you.
John, give some background on that thought process, because there's a lot of new people that have been coming to see us. So talk about why from when you were young, you believe that that's there.
Oh, I just think that it's there mentally because the environment I grew up in was extremely tense, and when things are extremely tense, you see things, bad things that you shouldn't necessarily. I don't want to say you shouldn't have to see, but you see things that most people don't see, and then you don't have any choice. You don't have a choice but to adapt. You can't. The longer you sit in a corner and cry, you're just hitting pause. So you have to adapt, and you learn that what worked for a certain time, it doesn't work anymore, because these drastic circumstances that are part of what I internalize as warfare, they change the game, right? In warfare, the battlefield may not be the fucking grassy plains of Northeast Ohio. We may move into the Badlands in South Dakota. That's a whole different fucking
landscape
kind of war. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So,
John, I know you're a huge fan of Art of War, right?
Correct.
So
yeah,
do you see, or is this what you're kind of depicting right now? Do you see some things from that obviously book that's a bazillion years old to what's happening right now?
Yeah. I view everything is a battlefield. So if you look at the landscape of business, okay, the battlefield that we fight on daily with our competitors, it's changing. We don't know if it's going to be naval warfare. We don't know if we're going to be at sea. We don't know if it's going to, we're going to have to march a long way. We're not going to have a lot of food. So it's always about, you have to know the ground, the land that you're fighting on. And then once you know the land you're fighting on, then you devise a strategy. Yep. Okay. So the battlefield now has changed. It's changed from this flat, it's a sunny day, it's 72 degrees, everyone's well fed, everyone's well rested. Oh, we're going to fight at 2 p.m. from 2 to 3 p.m. Great. This will be easy. I got a lot of sleep in me. Okay. So and
I'm well fed. My belly's full.
Right. Now we're going into the fucking desert with very little water. People are tired. They don't want to fucking fight. And you have to find a way to rile them up and get them going. And most people are going to fold before they even make it to the battlefield. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think business is right now. And that's why I love this right now. I love this right now because it tests everybody's fortitude. Absolutely test their fortitude. And we don't know a lot of the business owners that we compete with, but we will get to know them through the actions of their business. and
Yeah.
we will get to know them through how they adapt to this, if they complain about it, if they just drop all this stuff. So yeah, man, it's I just don't want to hear it. And I just personally have prepared myself over the course of my life. I've been in so many different positions of ownership in different businesses that did different things. And if I look at it, maybe I never thought about it till today, maybe subconsciously, it's to have so many different skill sets that if one thing falls out, just right on to the next.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I think is sometimes people don't understand, that through the uncovering of yourself and learning things of this long and this many small businesses, it's like you start to think like, well, hey, you know what, John, I thought about this the other day. If we had to do just media, like in nothing else, we've been practicing for 4 years, 5 years, every week, multiple times a week without, like, if we had to do just media, I feel like we could. I mean, because we've been dedicated to this. We're comfortable. We do content. We believe we're making a difference. We got something to say. We have a 20 years history of different business and scenarios that rely on.
We have a listener base, and truth be told, you know, we started this with the intention, and it still lives obviously today, of giving back.
Yeah.
But could we, through survival, still give back and make this a straight business? Abso-fucking-lutely. Now, that's not what we've chosen at this point. Could that switch be flipped? And if the brains are dedicated to that, 100%. 100%. This is another skill. Exactly. This is another skill. That's worth money.
And it's a huge skill, because that's one of the things that people ask me a lot, like, how'd you get so comfortable? It's that amount of hours that we've spent, not to mention you and I got to know each other way better because of consistent, like, deep ass conversations. But like, at the end of the day, like, it's the fact that we said, we are not going to fucking miss, from the Activate radio days all the way through Business and Biceps today, you know, twice a week, no matter Christmas, no matter vacation. We've done these podcasts from everywhere to develop a skill set that we can do, by the way, for the rest of our lives.
So if we had jobs, this is a great example. If we had jobs right now, we're guys who work for companies and we got laid off, we wouldn't be talking about getting laid off. We'd say, okay, boom, how do we monetize this thing? Yep. It's been monetized, but how do we monetize it so it could support our family, support our lifestyles today? Okay, boom, we're going to implement an app. Okay, boom, we're going to change our archive to this. Okay, we're going to add this kind of. That's what I'm talking about to everybody, to everybody. So if I got laid off, which I can't, but if I did, let's use this example. There's no talk of I'm laid off. When my friend calls, it's, yeah, I'm working on this new thing. I'm stoked on it. But I got to call you back because we're figuring it out now. I'm not talking about I got laid off. Stop it.
Yeah. But what to the person that says, well, that's easy, John, because we know you got dough.
Well, okay. So this.
I'm trying to play the devil's advocate.
I got you. Yeah. So this has nothing to do with.
Fuck John.
so any two people can get on a microphone with an internet connection and talk. It ain't got nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. So if they say that, the example I'm giving is take away all my other interests and I just have this, I promise you this in a year's time will be worth $750,000 to $1 million. Guaranteed.
No question.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So I think that was a good example, right? Because a lot of people don't even look at this as it's so normal to listen to podcasts for free and do things. Sometimes people don't think about the skill set and the time and the ability to create content at this level for this long, this consistent, right? And this is something we've worked on a lot. And people, but it is, and there's other skills like that are free to do that you can be practicing or should be practicing. And maybe you're not even laid off, but maybe you're thinking, but what? You know what? I still got my job. I have a lot of gratitude right now, but I should be doing something else on top of it and just start that process of what happens if I did get laid off? Like, I think this is just a good reality check to all of us to say, okay, we're about to face maybe worst case scenario where we prepared to adapt. And if you're not, and if you're thinking like, man, I don't have anything else I do, this is the best time, if you're fortunate to still have work, that you should be setting that up, or at least be conscious of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just think so many thoughts going all over the place right now. That's what this time is brought to us.
It's an easy time to it's an easy time to complain. It's an easy time to complain.
Oh,
And we all know we all know when we complain during normal times that it's like, you are the solution, get over it. But now it's a really easy time to complain because we're convinced that this isn't fair. And all is fair in life and war. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't understand
of what's next. Like, continue to put, like, if you spend 70% of your time complaining about how it's unfair or fuck this or the government needs it, if you would spend that same amount of time on a solution that maybe, by the way, you might like more than what you were doing. Like, most of the time when you can switch your brain like this, you go right towards what you actually enjoy doing. Your mom's example was amazing. She was a teacher for a long time, but she loves art. And if your mom had to teach art lessons to old ladies to get through this, if you weren't able to help her out, she'd probably fucking love it, John. And by the way, be able to pay her rent. I mean, but she would probably never do that. You know what I'm saying? In the normal environment when she had a teaching job. But if she was younger and healthier and had that, and you were like, Ma, shoot, there's got to be old ladies that would still come over and pay $40 an hour to learn. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of creativity and thought process we should be pushing, which is, even though you're getting a dose of fucking Fosco punching you in the face, that's what sometimes people need.
Funny thing is, my mom gets that same dose, and my mom
I'm sure.
So I fight with my mom often because she sells her paintings for $500, and then local galleries want her paintings and they give her 500 and they sell them for 2,000 to 3,000. So I say,
and
Mom,
she don't even care, does she?
And she says, honey, it's not about the money. So it's not about the fucking money. Let me sell the motherfuckers online. The fuck is wrong with you, Mom? You know, and she's fucking, I'm like, what the fuck? And she's
weird.
just like, oh, I do it because I love it. I said, well, what? Okay, well, then fucking sell them to me. You know what I'm saying? I'll fucking sell them. But she doesn't want to do that.
And she knows. And the funny thing is, she knows that you could sell them for more.
Oh, absolutely.
You've proven that over 20 years.
You're a fucking hater, Mom. Damn it.
That's amazing.
God damn it. Yeah.
Hey, John, I'm going to shift gears on you for a sec. I want to talk, and I think you're a really good one to talk about this. They're releasing on ESPN the thing about Jordan and Pippen and them the last year. And you talked about this a long time ago, but I think it's a cool thing for you to share your experience seeing MJ when you were young at the country club, when you were a caddy, when you were a kid, and then also your thoughts on the excitement, the timing of a documentary like this, because it's impactful at so many levels because of what Jordan and the Bulls of that era had meant to so many sports fans. And you're from Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, everything was perfect. Timing was perfect. Age was perfect. I grew up in the Jordan era in Chicago, and I got to witness the best competitive athlete of all time. And the things I saw and the things I look back and I think I learned from his approach are amazing. But I'll just take it. So for those who didn't hear the one episode, my first job I got, I think I went 12 years old, I think. I was caddying at the Butterfield Country Club in Oak Brook. And there was a basketball court that the caddies would shoot baskets at, while we were waiting to get called out for an 18. And just me and my buddy JT were playing fucking 21. And we see this fucking killer white Ferrari pull up that just says MJ Air 23 on the license plate. And I look at him and I'm like, no fucking way, dude. I'm like, there's no fucking way. And sure as shit, fucking he parks, literally. I swear to God on this. He gets out the car. He's got golf spikes on. It's Jordan. He goes like this. Like, pass me the ball. And I'm like,
this is amazing.
I'm in shock. And of course I passed him the ball. And this is not a lie. he pulls up from 40 feet in golf spikes, nothing but net. And then he keeps saying back. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're on the playground and you hit a shot, you keep giving to the
make
guy
it take it.
He hit seven or eight 35 to 40 footers right out of his car. And then after that, he goes, you guys want to play some 21? Let's go. I got a little time. This is me and my friend JT. And when he is at the peak of being Michael Jordan, and I pass it to him, he literally spins around us and does like a fucking 360 in golf spikes. He's dunking on us. And it's the coolest thing in the fucking world. I think he blocked a couple of my shots because he's crazy competitive. But before you knew it, all the other fucking caddies, they were like 200 yards away from us. They saw it and they all ran up, and there was probably 60 of us on the court after a good 5 minutes with just fucking MJ and my guy JT. And he was just literally dribbling around everyone and dunking. So that was, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, one of the coolest childhood things ever. But yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. And, but, you know, if you think about the Bulls, I want people to understand that Jordan isn't just like this guy who is like, oh, he's like LeBron. No, Jordan was a different breed that we've talked about on the show, that was not interested. You know, I just really want people to understand what I believe the difference is between Jordan and the guys nowadays. He was not interested in creating an all-star team. He wanted players that weren't that good because he had such a winning ego, that he didn't want the Barkleys, the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnson. He didn't want them on his team because he wanted to fucking beat them. He wanted to fucking beat them so he could be king. And he was king because he did beat them. He won 3 titles. He retired. He came back and he won 3 titles again. Outside of Scottie Pippen, who I believe was the 50th or the 52nd pick in the draft from Central Arkansas. Outside of Scottie Pippen, okay, Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong, John Paxson. These are people right now, people are listening saying what? Who? Saying, you might have heard.
Grant.
You might have heard of Horace Grant. You definitely haven't heard of Bill Wennington. You know, you probably haven't heard of Ron Harper. I mean, these guys were average at best. Yeah. But the Bulls were like the Warriors.
Yep.
But the difference was they didn't have 5 all-world players. They had 1. And then Scottie Pippen turned into his right-hand man, which, you know, that you want to talk about the best duo arguably in basketball. But it's not about basketball. It's about a guy who refused to lose. And part of refusing to lose is actually losing, because people don't remember that he missed last second shots quite often, but he always took them, and he also hit them quite often. But it was a fact that he was convinced that there was no other human being in the world who could close a game out like him, and he proved it over and over again. It's because he wasn't afraid to fail.
So I'm so excited to watch the documentary because it's going to bring us back to that time frame. And I had a friend, Jeremy Liggett, and his uncle had climbed the ranks at McDonald's. And so he was from our little town, you know, was working at the local McDonald's, went to Columbus, managed that, went to the corporate office, and became the president of the McDonald's Corporation, which is fucking crazy, and had tickets, you know, every Christmas would take Liggett and his brother to watch the Bulls. Our entire life. I was so fucking jealous that every Christmas day, Jeremy was sitting there watching in person, you know, Michael Jordan at the height of his career. It was just because, you know, I graduated in 97. So like, this is all through when we're like from 7th grade on, they're just dominating everything. It was unbelievable. So I told my kids, you cannot wear J's anymore unless you watch this documentary series with me, because you might think your Jordans look cool, but if you don't understand why the fuck you're wearing them, right. And that killer instinct, Johnny, is the thing that I just saw a clip of Jordan playing like 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 pickup, and Tom Brady was actually there. I don't know how old this was, but it wasn't that old. Jordan's got a belly. You know, he smokes like 5 cigars a day, eats whatever the fuck he wants. He just plays golf.
Gambles like a legend.
Gambles like a fucking legend. He's getting hacked on the arm as he's doing a turnaround jumper from the free throw line. He's only about that high off the ground, and he's calling and one on motherfuckers. And one, like, I mean, his competitive nature is so ridiculous.
Hall of Fame speech. I mean, that's all you got. All you got. He called out his high school coach, and he was dead fucking serious.
Dude, listen, not only did he call out his high school coach, he invited the guy that beat him out when he got cut for the varsity team when he was only 5'9", and he was a sophomore, and the dude was 6'7" and a fucking senior, and he says to the guy, and I bet your game's still the same.
I know, dude.
Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, you got,
It was a masterpiece of every motherfucker that pushed him to be angry, to be great. That's why I love that speech, because at the end, he was even thinking, none of you motherfuckers here think I can still play.
I know.
You see, he was like actually thinking about coming back to play. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I love it.
No, see, we get lost in society about like coming back to play. Is it because he wants to be on Sports Center? He wants his IG to blow up. He wants this. No. The only reason Michael Jordan would ever step on the court is to win. He doesn't give a fuck about anything. All these guys, literally, they're cut from a different cloth with their fucking gay ass outfits they wear. You know, they think it's fucking fashion week every time they walk into a NBA fucking arena. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. It's not fashion week, you fucking goofballs. You're going to play basketball. Michael Jordan would spit on you with your stupid fucking outfits and your gay hats all these guys wear. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to play basketball. That's the beauty of Michael fucking Jordan. He didn't fuck with that stupid shit. It wasn't, I can be on camera and check out my Dolce & Gabbana ripped up. Shut the fuck up. I'm coming here to beat your ass, take your fucking money, maybe your wife too, and go the fuck home.
So with all that being said, I think the documentary, people need it right now because sports, if I'm ESPN, I can't get this thing out fast enough. I think they moved up the date. I'm pumped because it's footage never seen. I know it's going to bring back some great competitive juices just in life because of how great Jordan was. Man, I'm so excited about it. I think it's and I would think the viewership is going to be like at an everybody's gonna watch it. There's nothing else. I mean,
let's think about something that just became part of pop culture history forever. That's really pathetic, right? The Tiger King. Okay, the president even got a so that's where we're at right now. From an entertainment standpoint, because there's nothing new out. There's no sport.
He's the most famous dude out right now. He's more famous than LeBron.
Hillbilly murderer from Oklahoma is now in the American lexicon, and he made condoms with his face on it for people to
run for president.
Yeah, and he likes to put padlocks on his penis. So this guy is accepted apparently by people. So yeah, I would say it's safe to say we could use some Jordan programming. Yeah.
To think when you just laid that out, how famous that dude is right now. Dude, he's more famous than LeBron or any of these guys.
Don Jr. Hey, Don Jr. wants to pardon him.
Shut you know the that? Fuck
I
up.
Swear to God. Have you read Don Jr.'s book, Triggered? No. Anyways, Don Jr. wants to pardon him, and Trump was asked about it in a press conference, and Trump was like, he's like, what did he say? He's like, who wants to pardon him? And he's like, it's probably Don. So like, you know, he's aware of it. So I mean, that's how.
Dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine if that dude gets out of jail from a presidential pardon and he's this famous? You wouldn't be able to tell that motherfucker anything again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to him, he's in jail. I get it, but he knows that shit's
Carol
fucking,
Baskin.
Bro. If that dude gets out, it would be.
He's not getting out.
I hope he doesn't get out.
He's not getting out. No, he's not getting out.
He'd be like, I fucking won. Fuck all you guys. I'm the most famous dude on the planet. I did it my way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so bad.
Wow,
so bad, bro.
I don't know. But I don't know what's happening.
I think the younger generation can experience Jordan, not one highlight, not one that they can experience. If they do this right, I feel like I'll be able to sit my kids down and actually give them a real Jordan vibe. I hope that happens because every Saturday I would get excited to watch NBA basketball. or every summer whenever they would have it, and they'd have, like, you know what I mean? That was a big deal when we were kids.
Big deal.
You couldn't DVR it. You had to be fucking ready to watch it.
Big deal.
And Jordan was on almost every fucking weekend, and I was pumped, bro. I mean, I was so excited to watch it, and I just knew that I was watching greatness, and that the confidence, the swag, the walk, the winning mentality, like, it was like bred into us as kids because you wanted to be like Mike, literally. I mean, literally wanted to be like Mike because you saw what a fucking true alpha dog motherfucker was, who just wasn't afraid to fail, bro. It was unreal.
Well, yeah, wasn't afraid. So that's one thing. I just want to give people concrete examples. So for, again, younger people trying to put this together, why do you think when you watch the dunk contest, you see maybe one or two guys you've heard of and two guys or three guys you've never heard of? Because why is LeBron James not in a dunk? Why? Because these guys are egomaniacs and they're fucking afraid to lose. They're afraid to lose to someone else. That's why they don't do the dunk contest. The dunk contest is a gift to the fans.
Yep.
Period. That's what it is. Don't tell me about injuries. Don't tell me any of this. Okay, when you see guys who are ridiculous ballers who can fucking, jump out of it, why don't they compete in it? Because they don't want to lose. Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins.
Oh,
okay. They competed in it. They were the best.
Yep.
And they gave us the best because they were so competitive. They weren't saying I'm afraid to fucking lose. They're saying I'm going to fucking win. And that's the difference. These guys, they're all ego. No, bro. I got robbed, bro. I got robbed. Like Aaron Gordon this year. He lost to that one kid. Oh, bro, I don't know what the judges see. Motherfucker, you lost. You lost. That's it. Don't. I got robbed. Shut the fuck up. You lost. If you would have won, you would have won. You didn't win. So that's the big difference between these fucking guys nowadays who are afraid to fucking, put themselves out there. And the real players who actually wanted to compete. They wanted to compete. To compete, you have to put yourself in a spot where you could lose. Just like an investment. To make money, you have to put your money somewhere where it could all go away. Yeah. That's the only way you can make it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an accurate depiction, Johnny. That's the truth. And that's the thing is, I've said this a few times, like, worrying about losing and expecting to win is like two different fucking ball games. Like, that's what a lot of people don't understand. They try to do something and they're only worried about if it doesn't work out, not expecting for it to work out. And look, it doesn't always work out, but I just have this feeling that when I go with the mind frame of expecting to win, just like every time MJ would take that fucking game winner, he expects to make it. He doesn't think, I hope I don't miss it. Your body does what your thought processes are like that. The thoughts are things, they become reality. So if you're always taking that winning shot, hope I don't miss this, hope I don't miss this, hope I don't miss this, or you take that shot like, give me the motherfucking ball. I got this. I'm going to make it in this motherfucker's face. Hey. I'm going to crumb around that screen and I'm going to get then that's the people around you like, oh, motherfucker is going to make it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you want to know how MJ felt?
Put me in, coach.
You want to know how MJ felt when he was getting ready to fucking take you out? Hang on.
Oh, here we go.
Just like that.
Is that against the law?
And no, absolutely not. Pistol. Everybody felt it. And he had that red dot on you and he took you out.
He just did it. So
just like me.
So good. Yeah. So anyway, you guys got to make sure. And, everybody's talking about the fucking, like, Netflix is bringing out another Tiger King thing, I think, to rival the Jordan thing. And it's like the fact that that's
they just dropped another Tiger King, like a reunion episode. Are they bringing out another one?
There's something else that's based around Carol's husband or something. That's the thing. Like, the fact that that's like the competing content right now because there's zero sports is mind blowing. Like, if you'd have told me this, like, before this shit happened.
Springer show. It's like the Jerry Springer show.
It is
exactly. Fucking hillbillies, and we're enamored because we have nothing else to fucking look at. You know what I'm saying? So, as opposed to looking at Tiger Joe, the gay dude, fucking, get to work. Stop bitching about not having a job and how hard it's going to be, and do something productive, loser.
I want to talk about what you said about the winning, and that's all. You, Jordan's winning at all costs was literally at the forefront. Like, I'm not saying that Michael Jordan is probably the most amazing person. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he has a lot
He's
of
made
faults.
some mistakes,
Yeah, just like
have we all.
as we all. But what I'm getting at is that his winning over everything is what made him great. So there is a fall off in other parts of his life because of that. And the other thing I kind of learned from when I was around Tiger Woods for a short period of time was when I spoke to him about why he got out of bed, that couldn't even come out of his mouth fast enough. Win. That's why I get up. I get up to fucking win. Like, there is nothing else in my mind. The amount of hours I got to put in, what fucking tournament. It was to fucking win it. That's it. And you saw when Tiger was at the highest level of his career of winning, the fall off that was there personally, a little bit, a lot of it actually, obviously, but then he made it back to the winner's circle. Obviously they replayed it because we didn't have a Masters yet this year. Last year with the same mentality, with I believe a lot more balance, but just understand these dudes that are fucking great. They don't want to play alongside and be having fun with other. They want to fucking, like, at a murderous level beat everybody. Like,
they get way more satisfaction.
Yeah, no second place, bro.
Well, they get way more satisfaction. I don't even know the answer, but I know the answer. If you said to Tiger Woods, you could win this tournament and win. I'm sorry, you could take third in this tournament, second, whatever, and you'll win $10 million, or you can beat everyone and win it and get paid nothing. He would say, I'm going to win. I guarantee. It's like anything else in life. If you do it to attempt to be the best, money always comes. If you do it for the money, it has a hard time flowing. Yeah. You know, but if you're so obsessed with what you're doing, you'll get so good at it and you'll be hard to beat. And that applies to everything. You know, money can't be your motivator. Being great can, and you could be a great teacher, you could be a great doctor, you could be a great anything. I just wish people took that mindset towards everything in life.
Yeah, no, it's good. All right, so we talked economy, we talked Jordan. My last thing I want to bring to you, Johnny, is stock market currently. It feels, this is just and I'm not crazy, amazing stock market guy. It feels like it's too high for what's happening. Straight up. Like, it just doesn't feel. I understand why Amazon's growing. I understand the businesses that are involved that we consume. But to have the Dow Jones at what, almost 24,000 or whatever it is, 23, seems a little bit fake to me, only based on what's really happening in the world. Like, I know and some people are saying, well, it went too low, so it's coming back to where the norm is. And I'm not saying I want it to go down. I actually want it to go all the way back up because that's better for everybody. But it just feels a little bit weird to me. Do you feel that way?
100%. You know, I've thought a lot about this, and so what we're seeing is extreme volatility. So I don't know what it is. Before we started recording, I think it was the Dow was down 550 points. Just to put things in perspective, once again, if the Dow had a day where it closed down 550 points, that would be the leading thing on a cable news network. Okay, so what we're seeing every day now is up 500. You know, not even down, because it's been doing well. But so volatility, right? It's volatility. Mm-hmm. A lot of stocks up 15% in a day. Okay, a 15% over the course of a year is a good return.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of stocks are showing 15% in a day, and then they're swinging down. So you have to say, what the fuck is happening? Well, the people who sink the most money, and this is all from my opinion, into the market are hedge funds. So when they buy, you know, an airline stock, they buy $300 million worth of it. And if it moves up 5%, what is that? $15 million they just netted, and they can net that shit in fucking 17 minutes. Okay. So volatility is being preyed on by these big institutions. Now, we can't look at the market as a mirror of what's going on, because you have to say, okay, we're about to in the most mild way go into a great recession, probably a depression, but we're about to. So how could the market be gaining? How is that possible when we don't even know when the airlines are going to post normal earnings, when the cruise ships, when everything, you could make a case for outside of Amazon for technology, because technology is going to have to get better, get more secure. It's going to be used because businesses are going to be utilizing this work from home stuff. But 100%, my opinion, and I could be wrong, this thing, after, at the beginning of May, when we have to digest the fact that we have 20% unemployment, this thing, there's no fucking way it can stay where it is, because even, it's getting high on the hopes of the economy turning back on. And like we said at the beginning of the show, we don't know what that looks like. So you can't just turn it on. So it's happy about that, but yet we're so far from that. And even if we turned it back on, are customers going to be comfortable we don't know anything yet. We don't know anything yet. So the stock market is a place right now where traders, and when I say traders, I mean like day traders and funds, where I think they're making a fuck ton of money. Just cleaning house. And I think you can take some long positions here and just say, okay, American Air, like I said earlier in the show, they got this multi-billion-dollar bailout. Okay, so they're going to be okay. We hope. They're probably going to need more money. Should I just take a long position in them? Well, yeah, that probably makes sense. But I just think the market is going to take another haymaker big time once this recession, outside of COVID, even though it was caused by COVID, once this recession sets in.
Well, people are cutting guidance too, John, because they don't want to be on the hook they know their sales are going to be down. So it's like, do we live in a world where if the companies just stay afloat and people believe they're going to be there because they're not showing guidance, even though their revenues are going to be down, unless you're fucking Amazon and a few of these others, like that, it just doesn't affect the market the way that it used to? Is that a possibility?
I don't think so, because
that's not the fundamental of how it works.
and like companies don't have the cash flow. So when you don't have the cash flow, a lot of companies are going to go out of business. Listen, the government can't bail out everybody. And when your cash dries up, you're done. So I think what's going to happen is, if you own stock in a company that can't make it through this, and there are going to be a lot of companies that cannot make it through this, good night.
It's zero, right?
Or they get acquired, their assets get acquired by a different company. If you're holding stock at $25 a share, maybe a company buys it out at fucking $15 a share. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know, but you have to understand that what we're facing, we're all COVID right now. COVID. The backside of this is a fucking recession, depression, and that's the economic part.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, I think we touched on some good stuff today, man. Once again, I love being live, being able to record this way. I'm a little upset you didn't wear your glasses today, but that's okay.
Damn it.
So, all right. So we're going to wrap this up. Make sure you guys check us out, share it with your friends, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Obviously you're watching live, tweet it out for us. And we appreciate everything. And we're going to keep pushing content to make you think and adapt and get better during this time. Some of it's hard to listen to because it's real, but we're trying to do our best to help you guys as we sort through it too. Right, Johnny? I mean, that's really what we're trying to do here.
100%. Listen, this is where you come for a reality check and for the can do and to do
mentality.
Mindset. You're not gonna fucking tune into this shit and hear fucking how bad it is. That's not what we do.
John's not going to give you a hug and console you on his shoulder.
No, I will slap you though.
All right, Johnny Fosco.
Oh, gee.
Can the podcast be stopped?
The podcast
can't
be
stopped. It's good shit, Johnny. So,
You guys want to do an
Trey.
intro quick?
Yeah, we'll do an intro, but we're still live, Johnny, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
I was gonna disrobe.
I know you were. All right,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. On this episode, we talk about economy post-COVID. We talk MJ, and at the end, what do we talk? Stock market, right, John? It's a good episode, dude.
Yeah, man. The thing that I got my head on, and yeah, we do hit on all those things, is we are hearing talk of turn the economy back on. What the fuck does that mean?
Yep.
Because we all know we can't just unlock doors, people come in and have it be normal. There's no cure for this thing. What does that look like? What does that mean? What are some ideas on how we can practically do it?
Yeah, it's a good show. Let's go to it.
Let's do it.
Good work, John. Hey.
Yes, sir.